Status and Treaties Issues by Bridget and Naomi.
Status and non-status India.
The history of status people. Historians believe that Asians migrated across the Bering Strait to North America during the Ice Age. Those people lived there with happiness until Christopher Columbus found America. He first thought this was in India because everyone in this new land had brown skin. Then the tragedy of Indian people started. Status Indians have rights and benefits that are not granted to unregistered Indians. Status Indians have status cards. They can enjoy free tax and special policies during their lifetime. Non-status Indian is a legal term referring to any First Nations individual who, for whatever reason, is not registered with the federal government or is not registered to a band which has signed a treaty with the Crown. Starting in 1701, in what was to eventually become Canada, the British Crown entered into solemn treaties to encourage peaceful relations between First Nations and non-Aboriginal people. Treaties were signed to define, among other things, the respective rights of Aboriginal people and the governments to use and enjoy lands that Aboriginal people traditionally occupied. The Treaty of Fort Laramie, also called the Sioux Treaty of 1868, was an agreement between the United States and the Latika people. Conflict between the Ponica and the Sioux Latika, who now claim the land as their own by the U.S. law, forced the U.S. to remove the Ponica from their own essential lands in Nebraska to land in Oklahoma. It did not meet the needs of the Ponica, many of whom made their way back to Nebraska. Between 1871 and 1921, the Crown entered treaties with First Nations of the West and North to actively pursue agricultural, settlement, and resource development in those areas. These were called number treaties because they went from 1 to 11, which cover northern Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and parts of the Yukon Northwest Territories in BC. Again, the First Nations sold their great lands for benefits like farm equipment, animals, and annual payments. In the 1800s that defined a status Indian solely on the basis of parental lineage. Indian status continues to be transmitted by male Indians, never by female Indians. Bill C-31 was passed in 1985 as an amendment to the Indian Act and was intended to reinstate status for those who had lost it. In particular, the bill was supposed to reverse sexual discrimination that had caused Indian women who married non-Indians to lose their status, while men who married non-Indian women not only kept their status but also passed status onto their non-Indian children.